the explanations of our sages, which were written with divine inspiration, that are thousands of years old, it's so chilling, really, because it's so contemporary, and this is why we see that why we say that we're living out these Parshiot today, and that it's all a reflection of our own lives. That this is the guidepost, and as it were, this is the manual for living. This is our own story that's being told. That, we see this over and over again. But another aspect of the psychological warfare that they employed against Israel was basically gender confusion. And this is Jim. It's so amazing. It's so amazing because if a person doesn't understand the eternity of Torah and doesn't understand the roots of this of the divine authorship, and that these are like guideposts that are beckoning to us to learn and to understand what the future holds, and what the parameters are that within which humanity has to navigate so that we remain, able to progress. So one of the aspects of what they tried to do was, Chazal say that Pharaoh tried to confuse the people and tried to bring them to the brink of despair, not only by these cities that were like self-immolating, that were collapsible, that were self-destructive, and not only by separating the husbands and wives, but by simply giving the men women's work and the women men's work, and he knew that in itself was going to cause them to psychologically to unravel and to become so completely weakened spiritually that they would be basically helpless to stop his plans and to stand up to him. And it's almost, if a person reads it without understanding, it almost seems like just like some sort of a side note, like, oh, that's cute, like he said that the men should do the dishes and the women should. That's not it at all. It's much, much deeper than that, because it is like hitting to the core of identity. Just as today, there is so much confusion that people have, that good people have, because there is an agenda that's set that the Pharaonic society has, to basically unravel the family unit and to strike at the heart of divine consciousness and the divine image. And the way that it's being done is by unraveling gender. And it was literally one of the first stages of the servitude and the stranglehold that the forces of darkness, the forces of Pharaoh in Egypt had over the Israelites, was to confuse them with gender.
And this was a mindset that was alive and well in the palace of Pharaoh, Rabbi. We have accounts of the Pharaoh that I speak of it in my book, in my documentary. The Pharaoh that we believe is the Pharaoh who really brought about, as you're pointing out, the bitterest part of the oppression that brought it down, really brought the hammer down, that's doing all these things you're describing. We have letters from antiquity of this Pharaoh he was homosexual. He would there are accounts of him sneaking out at night to see his favorite general. So literally this idea was alive and well even in the palace in those days. It was nothing.
And as always, it's important to me to emphasize, this is not about judging people, because Torah is embracing all people. In other words, every single human being was created in the divine image, and it's very, very important for us to emphasize, this is not about people. This is about any sort of criticism or anything that we're relating in a negative way is about a person's choices and about a person's lifestyles, because Hashem holds us up to a certain standard. This is the way that He created us, and He created us for His plan. But that has nothing to do with the person. Of course, it's not about dissing a person, but it can certainly be about dissing a person's choices. But in any event, this whole concept is so far-reaching, and today we see that it is taken on proportions that were never before seen in history, even in the worst of times. This whole idea of chipping away at the edifice of the family unit.
Yeah. Our administration here in this country is pushing this agenda, and it's mind numbing how that we are. I mean, we don't have to go there because it's in everybody's face every day. So I mean, it is a replication of an era that you've invoked that.
I mean, I think it's fascinating that we're learning, that Chazal are telling us, the sages are emphasizing this not as a sidebar, but this was a major component of the beginning of the whole destructive process of the children of Israel that was instituted by Pharaoh as a state program. And I don't think it's a side point. I think it's a major idea that this is a way of totally crippling a people and rendering people to be completely.
This same court seer Balaam, years later, we're going to see that he knows this is the same thing that you go after a nation or a society, is you destroy. When he stood up there and he was hired to curse Israel, he said, he later said, well, just destroy the family unit. That's all you got to do.
That was the advice that he gave as far as the daughters of Moab is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the whole idea in the Torah mindset is that men are holy, women are holy, equally holy, but actually, frankly, women are holier. Women have a much greater propensity for reaching spiritual heights and for closeness to Hashem and for purity than men do because of their very nature. And they don't have to try and be each other because they have a completely different set of variables. It's got nothing to do with equality. It's got nothing to do with this, with non-equality. It has to do with who we are in the world and what our divine mandate is.
And the bedroom is sacred. The marriage bed is sacred, and there's nothing holier than a man and a woman coming together in the bedroom, because you're creating life. You're bringing a soul down into the world.
That's why we speak about this all the time. That's why the whole concept of the Song of Songs is considered to be the holiest part of the Torah. The holy Rabbi Akiva said that if the whole Torah is holy, then the Song of Songs is the Holy of Holies, because it is the metaphor of the relationship that we're supposed to have with Hashem, and that level of closeness, that level of clinging, that level of unity, that level of devotion, really.